land the international careers that they want so that they can attract the opportunities they want to be attracting and build the kind of lives that they want to have and contribute the kind of mission that they want to be contributing. And so I am really, really excited about today's training video because we're going to talk about the epic way that you can rethink your career. And so this is really the key way that my clients are thinking. So this is how they're reshaping how they think so that they start attracting all of these opportunities. And this is so important because so many people come to me, you know, asking for, hey, can you revise my CV? Hey, can you look at my LinkedIn profile? What do you think, right? They don't actually want to change their approach, change their thinking. And so they come to me for these components here and there, and they're totally missing the point. And I know that they're not actually going to get where they want to go when people come to me asking these kinds of things. So I want to make sure that you guys are in that 1% who is thinking about your career the right way, the successful way, so that you can be part of that 1% that actually gets what you want out of life. So this is going to be really exciting. I'm really happy to be sharing this with you. I have a lot to talk to you about, so you might want to get a bit comfortable, maybe take some notes, get a glass of water if you're thirsty or something like that, and maybe I'll have to do a follow-up to this as well, because there's a lot that I want to share with you to make sure that you're thinking about this the right way and to make sure that you are on track, because it is a pretty special thing that we've found each other here on the internet among those billions of people and all of those social media distractions and stuff like that. And I want to make sure that if we, you know, the fact that we've connected to each other, that's something special, and I want to make sure that that means that you are not thinking like 99% of professionals out there, and that you start thinking in the way that's actually going to get you what you want. So here is the problem with the majority of professionals out there. So all of these people who are coming to me asking, hey, can you just let me know if you see a job opening for me to apply to? Hey, can you revise my CV? You know, what do you think of my LinkedIn? What do you think I should do about this job or that job? Or, oh, how did you get your job at the UN? Oh, how did you start your business? You know, I always get questions like that. And when someone comes to me with those kinds of questions, I know that they're never going to be successful. They're never going to solve their career problems. And how do I know that? Well, I talk to people who are at the beginning of their career problems, and I talk to people who are, you know, decades into their career problems. And the fact is, if you don't have the right strategy, career problems don't get resolved. They don't just get resolved on their own by, you know, coming up with a few fixes to your CV or to your LinkedIn, right? None of these tips and tricks or this kind of research that people are doing is going to get them to where they want to go. And the majority of people don't have any kind of a career strategy. They really don't. And it's not their fault. I think a lot of people don't realize that there's such a thing as a career strategy, that there's such a thing to think about your career in a different way, and that this is how careers are, right? We're stuck in the competition, we're stuck in this difficult marketplace, and all you can do is crawl your way forward, scratching and, you know, fighting and hope for the best and grab those opportunities as they come along and just see where you end up. But that is not the way, okay? I don't want any of you to be functioning like that, because that is not going to get you an amazing life. That's just going to get you something, and then you're going to convince yourself that you should be happy with that something that you get, whatever it is. So here is the real thing that's going to change all of that. And this is why people come to me and they say, hey, how do you get so many opportunities? Hey, how come your clients are doing this and doing that? What did they do? Just tell me and I'll do it too, right? And obviously what they're usually looking for is just some component, like revise my CV, tell me what to say to this person or to that person. And none of that is ever going to fix things for them. So, you know, people who think like that, who are asking for a position or asking for a CV fix, or who are just looking for these one-off things that they can do, they have linear career logic. if that makes sense. So I'll explain what this is, because I know that probably sounds a bit weird, but linear career logic is when you think of all of your career in terms of these components, like I just mentioned. So you're just thinking about different actions that you can take, and you're hoping for the best. That is linear career logic. And the problem with linear career logic is that it completely ignores the whole ecosystem in which you are functioning. And so in our lives, we are all part of systems. There are systems everywhere. And so there are two types of people. There are the people who are unconscious about the systems in their lives, and they just keep looking at things in terms of that linear approach. And then there are the people who become aware of the systems that are affecting them, and they take control of those systems and have, create their own systems, as well as adapting their existing systems in order to get what they want. So this is the big shift, okay? Going from linear career thinking towards system-based career thinking. And I think that sounds a little bit technical when I say it like that, but it's not. And I think, so one of the big shifts that my clients are making in the program is that they're thinking about their career as though they are a CEO of their own business. And part of that means that they're thinking in terms of systems. Because if you want to have a successful business, you need to have great systems in place. Otherwise, you're just going to go crazy trying to do everything and really, hoping for the best, which is not a good strategy. But this is what most people do in their careers, even in business. This is what a lot of people are doing. That's why so many businesses are failing out there as well, right? So you need to have a strategy. You need to be aware of what is your system. Is it a system that works? And then how are you adapting it to yourself? And this systems are actually really exciting things, okay? I think a lot of people think of them as something that's a bit mechanical, a bit machine-like. But if you think about it, a system is an amazing thing because it starts at that microscopic level. So you have systems, right, all the way down to electrons and atoms, which obviously you can't spend your whole day thinking about that or you'd go crazy, but there are these microscopic systems at work. And then that works all the way up to your own life, and then all the way up to nature and the solar system that we're in. And even your own body has so many systems, right? You have your nervous system, your respiratory system, your digestive system, so many systems, and they're all working without you even having to think about them. So there are some systems that we're not really conscious of on a day-to-day basis that just work in the background. And then there are a lot of other systems that are also there in the background, but that we really should become conscious of and take control of if we want anything to actually happen in our lives. So when people are sending out CVs and they're just looking at their career in terms of this linear approach and component-based thinking, what happens is that completely ignores the whole rest of the system. So just to illustrate this, right, here is what a system looks like in a very simple version. And I know this is going to be, I don't think it's backwards, actually. Okay, so just to put this simply, right, people have their dream lives that they want to achieve. So that's your output, right? That is your result. So the first problem that most people have is that they don't even know what they want their output to actually be. So they're not really clear on their goal. They just don't really think that what they have right now is what they want. And then their goal, they're not really sure what's realistic, what they should be aiming for. Maybe they're aiming for something that isn't what they really want, but it just seems like that's as good as it gets, right? And so the first thing that they're doing wrong is they don't have a process to determine what that output actually is. And that's why I take my clients through a process to determine that outcome, to determine what do they really want to do with their lives? What would be the best match for their skills and their experience and the kind of lifestyle that they want to have? And, for some people that'll show up differently. Some people want to work remotely or from home so they can choose the city that they live in. Other people really want to work in this amazing team, and they want to make sure they find that correct team and that they're contributing and working with a lot of people around them every day. Some people, you know, they have a lot of money issues. They're not earning enough right now. They need to earn more money. Some people want more stability. They want to be starting a family, and so they're looking for that stability as well. And most of the time, in terms of the output, in terms of the results people want to get, they want a combination of all of the above. But they don't let themselves have that because they think that that's not allowed. They have to choose between these things and only focus on one output at once. But that's not true. So the first step that most people are already getting wrong is to follow a process to determine what is your output, what's going to be realistic for you, and what are you capable of achieving, and what do you really want to be achieving? What is that type of work that you're going to be really excited about and really happy with, and that is going to be fulfilling you on all different levels? Okay, first step. So now you know your output right, and you have that dream, and it's very, very clear in your mind. You know what you want to achieve. Okay? Do you see how that's already a big difference for most people who are just kind of scrambling, doing a lot of input, but they don't actually know what the output is going to be, so they just end up somewhere, and then they try to justify to themselves that wherever they end up, that's okay, or it's better than what they had in the past, or it's better than what their neighbor's doing. So that must mean that, you know, they're doing pretty great, right? Totally, totally different. So the first thing you do is get clear on what you want your results to be. Your results, not the results of your neighbor or your friends or your family, because, you know, maybe what you want is something totally different from them, or something that's way beyond what their dreams could be, okay? And if you're ambitious, you need to realize that a lot of people around you are probably limiting you, and you're probably basing what you think you're capable of on them, or just a bit higher than them, when actually you could be way beyond that. All right. So you guys know that I go a bit crazy with the goal setting and with how people are limiting themselves. So that's why I'm going on a rant there. But you get the point, right? You first get clear on your output, and you don't limit yourselves in terms of your output. All right. So that is clear. And then now you need to know what your inputs should be. So, you know, this is where a lot of people are wasting a lot of time on their input. They're applying, they're fighting, they're competing, they're doing all of these things, but they don't know their output, and they don't even have a process to achieve that output. So the process part is pretty simple. This is where I have my 8-week process, the Accelerate Your Ambitions program, and it is a very simple process. It takes you step by step towards getting towards your outcome. It's simple, but it's not easy, and it's not magic, okay? So it is tough work, and that's why a lot of people like to avoid the whole idea of a process completely, because it is somehow easier in a way to just keep doing inputs forever, because it keeps you busy, it makes you feel like you're working and you don't have a process. But the whole idea of the process is usually quite mysterious to people. It's the how, it's the, you know, it's a change of approach as well. It requires upfront investment in terms of time and in terms of money. And so a lot of people would rather just ignore the process, put in a lot of input, and then hope that they're going to get to this outcome. And they don't really know what the outcome is, but they just have some kind of vague dreams of more money, more travel, happier, you know, happiness, that kind of stuff. And so they do a bunch of stuff, lots and lots of inputs, lots of fighting, lots of competing, lots of applications, lots of adjusting, lots of asking different people for their opinions on, you know, what else should I change about my CV? Clearly something's not working. Lots of clicking around on webinars, lots of research, okay, lots and lots and lots of inputs, no process, and hope for the best, and hope that they get the outputs, that they don't actually know what those outputs are. So you see how most people's career process is broken, and why so many people are unfulfilled, and why very few people really achieve their versions of success. All right, so this is the simple, you know, when you have a system, you have something that looks like this, but it doesn't stop there. So what's going to happen is that you are functioning in an environment. So, you know, none of us function in a vacuum. All of these inputs, this is where, you know, sometimes people ask for guarantees, right? They're like, well, so if I have the input and I know the right input and I know the right process, am I guaranteed this output? And the reason there are no guarantees in life is because we have these environmental factors. So I'm just going to put a drawing here to show you the environment. So the environment is things like the competition, right? You can't control the other people out there, but of course they're going to influence your output. So I'm just going to illustrate this with the sun. Okay, that's your environment. So that's the changing weather. That could be your internal environment as well as your external environment. So your internal environment, of course, you can make changes to that, and that's part of what we do in the program as well, is to examine your internal environment, see how that is actually impacting the process. And a lot of people have an internal environment which is not conducive to the process. So it's actually taking away from the process and it's sabotaging them. So we look at your internal environment and we fix as much as we can so that we can still get our output, so that the process is working smoothly as it should be. But there are always going to be external factors that you have no control over. So those are things like the competition, all those other people out there with those Harvard degrees, with 20 more years experience than you, who are, I don't know, more extroverted than you, who are older than you, who are younger than you, all those different things that come into play when it comes to the competition. People with better contacts than you, right? All that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people actually don't even get into any of this because they're too afraid of the external forces. So they say, oh, there's too much competition. I guess I just shouldn't bother. It's too hard. Or external forces can also be things like all of the distractions that come up every single day. And, we all have distractions, but we all think that those distractions are specific to us and are special and make our problems more special than everyone else's problems and make it mean that we shouldn't have a process because we have a sick family member to take care of, or we don't have enough money, we come from a poor background, or we're the wrong ethnicity, or we have the wrong passport, we don't have the visa. So this makes us different from everyone else's problems, and so we don't deserve to even get into this process. We don't bother with it because we say the external factors are too big, there's no point. And so the thing to know there is that everyone has lots of problems, and it's pretty amazing the kind of problems my clients have. They have big problems. They have a lot of stuff going on, and it just makes me realize that everyone has stuff going on. Everyone has lots of really great reasons why they should stay exactly where they are and not do anything. And I mean really good reasons, like seriously ill family members, serious traumatic backgrounds, like human beings, we have a lot of issues, honestly. And I think a lot of us, because so much of these issues are so taboo and are considered so shameful, people don't talk about them. So then we all think that these issues are just our own and that nobody else has to deal with them. But I can tell you from the people I've worked with, that is not the case. And some of the most successful people out there have the biggest issues to get over. So don't let those environmental factors hold you back. Those, let those be motivational forces, and let those be signals that you need the process even more, because if you're going to be able to operate in a difficult environment that you can't avoid, then all the more reason why you need a process, why you need to be clear on that output and what are those things that you're going to have to get over. They're just obstacles, okay? And when you have a process, you can definitely get around those obstacles. And here's how. So as you're going through the process, there's something else that happens, which is that you start to get feedback. So I'm just putting this, these are supposed to be kind of circular arrows, okay? So as you're going through the process, you start to get feedback. So that's the stage where a number of my clients start getting opportunities. So as they're already clear on their output, and actually this was something that was really amazing the other day. So we had our group call in the AYA program, and I have some clients working with me right now who one of their challenges was that they weren't clear on what they wanted to do in terms of their work. So I have a client right now who wants to do a kind of a career shift, a kind of transition, and wasn't sure what to go into because she has lots of experience, she's super successful, and she has lots of options, but she doesn't know what is the option that's going to make the most sense for her. And I have someone else who wants to start a business, lots and lots of business ideas, and of course isn't taking action on any of them because he doesn't know which is the one, right? So once they get clear on that output, that's where some pretty miraculous things can start happening. And the week after they follow the process to get clear on the output, and even getting clear on the output is a whole input, process, output in and of itself system. So once they follow the system in one of the missions, they got clear on that output, guess what happened the next week? Opportunities already started materializing that were in line with the output, and all it took was to get that clarity on what the output actually was. And that is something that's pretty amazing. We'll have to talk about this more on another video. I have so many ideas these days, guys, so many things I want to share with you. But when you get that clarity, and people don't value clarity nearly enough, when you get that clarity, so many things start to happen. So once you have clarity on the output, that is where suddenly opportunities that match with that output start materializing. And maybe this, to some people, it seems like a miracle, it seems like magic, but it's not. The reason that happens is that nothing happens in isolation. So when you start seeing how these different components work together, that is where you start magnetizing. That's where those opportunities start coming towards you. And that's why, you know, people are always asking me, how come you're getting all these opportunities, you know? And it doesn't have to do with one thing. Like, they're expecting me to tell them one thing that I'm doing, one component, that they can just copy that and the same thing will happen to them. And of course, that's not how it works. You have to have the whole system working for you, and you can't see any of these pieces in isolation, especially when we're talking about some things which you seemingly don't have control over, like getting opportunities, right? So we need to see the whole process. We need to see what can you control and how is that going to influence the other components so that you can start to get those opportunities coming your way. Okay, so sorry, I got a bit off track there. So I was talking about the feedback. This is where, as my clients are going through the process, they start getting feedback. And the feedback usually comes in the form of those opportunities I was mentioning. So all of a sudden, they start getting people reaching out to them. They start getting opportunities coming their way. They start just, you know, the world starts to open up to them. That's the feedback. Now, this is where it gets exciting. So once you start getting that feedback, that's where a lot of my clients have gotten opportunities and they start to decline them. And it's always so cool when that happens, because generally these are the people that at the beginning of the program were in desperation mode and we're saying, you know, I've tried everything, I'm out of money, I need to be getting experience because I'm wasting my time now not getting the experience that I want to be getting. I just need something. Like, if I could just get any job more or less in this area for more or less this salary, I would just be happy. And then as they go through the process, they start to get those opportunities. And instead of just taking them because at least they got something, they say no, because now they realize that their output can be something so much greater, and they realize how all of these things fit together. They realize they have a process and that they have way more control over their careers than they felt at the beginning. At the beginning, it felt like they had no control. Now they have control. Now they don't have to just accept everything. They know that those opportunities that are coming in are just the first round of feedback. And now that they've gotten that feedback, they can readjust and they can start getting even bigger and bigger outputs. And all they have to do is keep following the process, keep putting in the inputs, and that's just going to become this kind of a cycle that expands and that gets bigger and bigger. And that's how they start upgrading their goals more and more and more. And it's the feedback also does something else, right? So whatever you do, you get more of. So that is why people who become successful get more and more and more successful. And that's why often when we talk about, you know, the 1%, why are there people who just keep getting more and more and more money and who keep rising, rising, rising? Like, I'm sure you know these people. There are some people you know who just seem to go into a downward spiral. And at first you go, okay, it must just be bad luck, right? And then the years go on and you realize they're getting further and further and further into that hole. Whereas someone else will seem to be doing pretty well, and then they're doing a bit better and better and better and better, and all of a sudden, like, they're just doing this amazing stuff faster than everyone else, and you're going, wait, how did they get there, right? And that's because of feedback loops. So whatever you're doing, you get more of, or whatever you're getting, you get more of that. And that's why you want to make sure that you have a system and that you're feeding those feedback loops in a positive way and not in a negative way. So if you're getting negative results, this is also the opposite of how most people think. Most people think if they're not getting the results they want, they should just keep trying, and hopefully the results will change because they'll get lucky, right? And they say, oh, I guess I just have to keep trying, which is madness. What you need to do is change your approach and get a system so that you can start getting those positive results, and then those positive results will keep getting more positive results, and then you'll keep upgrading, upgrading, upgrading. Whereas most people think, I'll just try, see what I can get, and then convince myself that I'm happy to have whatever it is that I have, because I guess that's what's possible, and maybe I'll keep trying, and maybe I'll get something better after. So that is not the way that you guys are going to become successful. So make sure that you have a system, and you're using your system, and that you have a process in place so that you can actually get into those feedback loops and start getting into those success cycles where things just pick you up, pick you up, pick you up. Yeah. So do you guys see, like, let me know, do you see the difference between those two things? The linear career process versus using a system type of process. Do you see that? Okay, so I think I'll stop there for now because I don't want to get too overwhelming with all of this, but we can touch base. Like, let me know if this is useful for you and how you're thinking of this in the context of your own career, and then we can do a follow-up video about career systems thinking and how you can actually implement that. So let me know. And if you guys, like we've talked about this before, right? If you guys are still in trial mode, you're still trying to get somewhere, you're still trying to, you're still stuck in just doing a lot of applications, or in fighting, or in that confusion, right? Not having that clarity about what you actually want to do, then you need to have a process in place. So if you want, you guys, I think for this week, there are no career roadmap sessions left, but if you go to my team's calendar at accelerateyourambitions.com/apply, you're gonna get access to our calendar, and then me or someone from my team is gonna get on a call with you, and we're gonna be able to discuss where you're getting stuck and what you need to do in order to move forward. So where is this process not working for you? Where do you even have a process, right? And so if you want to get access to the Accelerate Your Ambitions process, which works really, really well for everyone who actually goes into it and who actually commits to it and who gets clear on that output and then starts putting in those inputs, then you're going to be able to start having those results for yourself. So you can stop asking me or asking other people, hey, what did you do to get that? Hey, what did you do to get this? What do you think of my cover letter? Okay. So if you want to get out of that, have your own system so that you can start magnetizing opportunities, and you can stop fighting, and you can start actually getting what you want and also working up from there. Like, I want you guys to get out of this mentality of, okay, I have to grab whatever I can get. I want you to be, here's what I want, I'm going to achieve that, and then once I achieve that, I'm going to achieve the next thing. And most people are so stuck, they can't even imagine what the next thing after that would be. They think that they just have to keep fighting their whole life for, for this, when there is all of this out there for you. And I know if you're here, you're someone who is ambitious, you're someone who wants to achieve things for yourself, for your families, for others in the world, that you also want to be contributing with a mission and doing something that is bigger than what most people tell you you should be doing, or you're capable of doing, or is realistic to do, okay? So you want to leave all of that behind, all of that fighting behind, all of that making do with whatever you have behind, and get you a system so that you can start making all of those things a reality. And only you know what those things are going to be, right? You guys have some amazing, amazing missions, amazing dreams, and now what you need is the process to actually get you there. So if you want to see if you're a good fit for the program, you can apply at accelerateyourambitions.com/apply. And then after that, there's just a short questionnaire to fill out. So fill that in, pick a time slot, and then we're going to get on a call with you, either me or someone from my team. We're going to talk to you, listen to where you're getting stuck, and then also look at where you want to go, see what's going on for you in your life right now, in your career, and see if this is a system that would really benefit you to get to that next level and to get out of where you are right now and into where you want to go. All right, so lovely speaking to you as always. Feel free to post your comments here, and then I'll come back to the video and I will answer them one by one. So have an amazing day, and nice seeing some of your faces here again, and we'll speak again soon. Bye, guys.